School social workers collaborate with teachers, parents, and school personnel to improve students' academic performance and social development. Community social workers focuses on broader social issues, working in a non-profit organization or government agencies to implement programs, policy changes, and community development initiatives. Economic reward and salaries in social work. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual wage for social workers in May 2022 was around $50.7470. However, salaries vary depending on the area specialization, geographical location, and level of education and experience. Clinical social workers who require a license typically earn higher salaries. Child, family, and school social workers had a median annual wage of approximately $48, while healthcare social workers earn more than 82,540 annually. These figures indicate a competitive and rewarding field, both financially and in terms of career satisfaction. Admission required for social work in Nigeria. In Nigeria, the admission required for studying social work typically include a minimum of 5 credits in O-level examination, which must include English language, mathematics, and any 3 relevant subjects. Most universities also require score from the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination and post-UTME screening. The specific grade and additional requirements may vary slightly among different universities. Universities in Nigeria offering social work or computer science. Several universities in Nigeria offer courses in social work. Prominent among them are University of Lagos, the University of Ibadan, renowned for its social work program, and Obafemi Awolowo University. Other notable institutions include the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. Each of these universities has a unique approach to this discipline, contributing to the diverse educational landscape of Nigeria. And that's all for today. I remain Aisha Hussein, giving you insight on different professions, helping you make plain the complicated and serving juicy intel on your dreams. Do join us same time next week here on Light Radio. Stay informed and enlightened.
Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
You are still on You are still on to Education Today on Light Radio, and we are moving into the discuss segment. And our guest is here with us. We are discussing WAEC CBT proposal for SSC, the pros and cons. The background. The West African Examination Council, WAEC, on Monday, November 13, 2023, announced the introduction of the computer-based test CBT mode for the conduct of the Senior School Certificate Examination SSC. In a statement signed by the acting head of Public Affairs Unit of WAEC, Moyosola Adesina, the innovation would kick off with the conduct of the West African Senior School Certificate Examination (WASEC) for private candidates in February 2024. This migration from paper and pencil tests to CBT is to conform to the global best practices. To this end, prospective candidates are expected to hone their computer skills, while a mock examination to familiarize students with this new platform would hold as well in February 2024. While many welcome these proposals, many others opposed it based on the reality of the Nigerian situation with respect to ICT awareness and availability of required infrastructure. So what are the possible reasons for this migration? What does WAEC and the candidates stand to benefit from this innovation? What are the likely challenges that could hinder the migration? What must WAEC do to assuage the fear of Nigeria and other naysayers to this policy? These are some of the posers we seek answers to in this discuss segment of today. Joining us on this program today is our in-house analyst and educational consult, researcher and lecturer at the University of Lagos, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Aisha. Good afternoon, our listeners. It's a pleasure to be here once again, and I think I'm good to go. All right. Well, you can be part of this discussion by sending your comments and questions to 0809-738-4000, or you can also drop your comments via the live video feeds on Facebook and YouTube.
So before moving into the discourse profile, our short quiz question: what do the acronyms CBT and PPT stand for? Send your answers to the WhatsApp number 08097384000 or our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answer wins the prize. So, what is the difference between CBT and PPT system of examination?
Thank you very much. To begin with, I'll talk about the CBT. We're talking about a situation where the examination is actually done via the computer. So that's why it's called computer-based CBT, and the PPT is paper-based test. Usually the examination system that we are, all conversant with is the one where we have the question paper. So the questions are printed on the paper. You have an answer booklet also on a paper. It's a booklet, so it's a paper. And at the end of the day, so you look at the question, you answer. Are you with me? You say paper, PPT. So invariably, in some cases, you also have probably just beyond booklets where you are writing on. Some you might even have it more like what you call OMR shade, where you shade options if it were to be an objective, test. So where the questions are there and it is multiple choice, so you shade, the answer. So pencil. So you are making probably use of pencil, and it's pen. It's also on a paper. You are writing.
Yes.
So it is on a paper. So, but in the case of computer based ones, so you have a computer system where you have the questions there. You're clicking the options, or you are entering the answers with the keyboard, onto the computer system. You click submit and it goes. So that is, the basic difference. So one is on computer, and one is on paper. Yes.
So why do you think WAEC is migrating from the PPT to the CBT system?
There could be different reasons for it. And if you check the background that you read earlier, you'll find out that WAEC, in the statement given by the Public Affairs Unit, acting head of WAEC, that woman, Mrs. Moyosola Adesina. So she made mention of the fact that WAEC did this in conforming, with global best practices, because the idea of shifting from paper based to the use of the computer for assessment purposes, for examination, is now gaining ground. So a lot of people are actually shifting away from it. So it's WAEC to feels like it is high time we also moved to that system, because following the trend, trying to actually conform to these global standards. So for them, they also want to be compliant with that standard. But beyond that too, you might also consider the fact that the whole world is talking about climate change, global warming, and the world is actually going paperless.
Okay.
Because if you look at it, the use of paper, the production of paper, comes from felling of trees. And the more you cut down trees, the more the ecosystem is exposed
to dangers,
to climate change. Because at the end of the day, ordinarily, the carbon emission, these trees are able to absorb the carbon. So instead of it going out to the whole atmosphere, these trees are able to trap this carbon because they need it. We human beings, we need oxygen for our respiration. So we breathe in oxygen and we exhale carbon carbon dioxide. Now these trees, they take in carbon dioxide. So but beyond that, so this carbon, so by the time you fell these trees, the carbon in the soil gets exposed to the atmosphere. And at the end of the day, apart from the fact that it contaminates the air in the atmosphere, it is also dangerous to our own health. Then again, you're also talking about the fact that we're also destroying the ozone layer. So at the end of the day, and because of so many other benefits that we're supposed to get from trees, apart from keeping us warm, giving us fresh air and so many other things, the vegetation cover, and as much as that. Look at Nigeria, for instance. We're talking about the fact that we're suffering from deforestation and desertification in the north. So the more you cut down trees, the more you actually exposing the environment to desertification. So we're talking about the green belt. So at the end of the day, because the world is moving away from paper, it also means that we are also trying to be compliant with the demands of the world, that we should de-emphasize the use of paper and probably try to go paperless. So for our WAEC, that could also be a reason. Okay. Then minus that to the cost of paper.
Yeah.
So these papers used in printing these questions and the answer booklets, they are not, most of them are actually not printed. They are not produced here in Africa. Not just even in this country. That usually a lot of them are not produced in Africa. So a lot of times we import. And with the economic challenges facing Africa, especially Nigeria, and the exchange rates challenge, that would actually eat deep into the resources, the economic resources of WAEC. So trying to cut costs could also be a reason, because at the end of the day, you would expect that you should just shift the cost to the candidates writing the exams. But a lot of candidates are also complaining because a lot of them feel like the examination is also just every year is getting more expensive, and some students will not be able to register. Remember that some states are trying to come in to help, and at the end of the day, they will just assure WAEC, don't worry, register them, we will pay you, and a lot of them are owing WAEC. So trying to look at all that,
so
cutting costs.
Like the benefit of them moving from PPT to CBT. So I would ask, will this bring improvement to the educational system in West Africa, or is just a cost-cutting
measure?
Yes.
Well, conforming to global best practice would also require that a level of skill acquisition. One way or the other, if you want candidates to move from paper-based to computer-based, so it means they'll also have to become skilled, become proficient with the use of computer system. So at the end of the day, so as a benefit to WAEC, apart from the fact that they are conforming to these global best practices, probably the logistics of paper, storage, printing, transportation, and
even
every other thing like that.
marking too,
You know,
marking.
marking, supervision, because everything is paper, paper, paper. Because the logistics.
It's too tight.
A lot of things are involved. I remember that while even as a secondary school student, you'll be told that the papers are probably been deposited probably either with a bank that is close to the complex or the school, so that at the end of it is at that time you see some of those strong bags where those questions are bagged, so they are kept there, and it is on the day of the paper day, that is when they go there
And
to
they
bring
start
it out,
moving it from
and
one
that's a
location to another.
cost to getting into the bank. You pay the bank. The vehicle that will convey it to the school where the examination will be done, and you are talking about fuel now, and subsidy has been removed. So yes, cost cutting, I would say to a large extent, is a benefit for WAEC. But beyond that too is also the fact that it will force people to become proficient with the use of computer system.
I don't think.
Then again, for the fact that we would also learn, like I, for instance, as a staff in a university, and I have supervised exam that is computer based before, and we do what is called proctoring. Proctoring is invigilation via the computer system, where there is a camera. The candidate that is writing the exam is seated before a computer system. The computer system has a camera. So you're also learning how to also do that. That's additional skill you're getting, because you have not experienced it before. You might not know how it operates. You might not know how to really communicate with the student via the computer system. You might not also know how to monitor whatsoever the students are doing. And at the end of the day, so beyond just the cost cutting, there is also the skill component of it that the students and every other stakeholder involved in that kind of an examination would also be forced to learn, so become more proficient. Then apart from that is also the issue of the safety of the officials and many other things like that. So these are some of other benefits that might be there, and for the candidates too, they are also learning how to do things just beyond writing. So at least also learning how to type, how to do some things on the computer system is another benefit. But then for the education system as a whole too, that might be that innovation would allow us to be able to address some challenges. So I believe it's also an opportunity for us to also x-ray some of these issues. But then it would also come with its own challenge. That's another thing we just have to realize.
So many people say that since UTME conducted by JAMB is also CBT, this is also similar. So this would not be an issue for like the WAEC system? Do you agree with that?
No, I disagree absolutely. Yes, it is similar because we have seen it work with UTME conducted by JAMB, but it's a different ball game entirely. Now let me tell you this. Usually CBT of UTME, you have similar subjects. The subjects are restricted, and all the questions are objective.
I was about to ask.
They are all objective. Beyond that, JAMB does not own these centers. Yes, the CBT centers are not owned by JAMB. So JAMB entered into an agreement with some people. Now, how many students do we have in our secondary school system? How many students write UTME? Are they the same?
No.
Now, look at the timetable of WAEC. They spend virtually a month, if not more, to write this exam. Different subjects at different times.
Practicals, theories.
All that. Now, imagine the number of students that are in different places, although they said it should be for private candidates. Now, even the schools where they usually write these centers are not owned by WAEC, we know, but they are just centers. But then the number of students, and they come on a daily basis. So how do you do it? So would you run different shifts in a single ICT center on a day for a single subject? So okay, today now we are writing mathematics, for instance, and mathematics, I know for the objective will probably be like an hour, and the essay will be like probably 2.5 hours or so. And at the end of the day, in a single center.
Then you
So
now have
how
different
many
batches.
people, different batches just for mathematics alone on a day?
That is still going to wear out the.
So it's not exactly the same. And for the fact that you also now have some other different kinds of subjects, so it won't be unlike the way you can just, in the case of CBT, UTME, 100 questions for English. For other subjects, probably 50 questions. You just, everything, on a single system, and you just get different, next, and you go within 2.5 hours, you are done with the whole 4 subjects that you want to register for. Now, how do you do that for? Now, you are only now talking about mathematics just for a day. So you have different batches of students in a single center at different places. So the following day, you probably do. Are you even sure you'll be able to exhaust the numbers of those that register for that exam just for mathematics on that day, and it will not spill over to the following day? And so these are some of the things. So it's not. It's a different ball game entirely. So you cannot compare the SSCE with the.
So there's likely to be issues, or you just agree or you disagree.
It provides a similar experience, but not totally the same experience. So I don't agree that it would be easy. It's not easy. There will be some things that have to be done before we can actually just go ahead with this exam, I believe.
So how proficient are Nigerians today with the use of computer, especially for examination purposes?
Our ICT proficiency level is still poor in this part of the world. Now, to now say that specifically for examination, that's another thing. See, there are students that write UTME, and you're like, are you just getting to learn that you write this exam with this that is CBT? Now, we have students in the university that are doing GST exams, and it is also CBT. And some of them, even from the challenge, you see them practically fighting with the mouse. And like, did you not write CBT? How did you write UTME? Did you do UTME? So how did you gain admission to the university? They are still having issues like this.
The exam, because
now that's to tell you that exam has its own, comes with its own tension, the anxiety itself, beyond just the usual of trying to write. Just using the computer system. See, even those that write the paper-based exam, you would see them in the exam hall. People are sweating, they are writing, their hands are getting sweat, getting wet, and you're cleaning, doing this. Exam anxiety. They are still writing, their handwriting will be jumping up and down and things like that. Now imagine you now want to type or you want to do exam.
Alien gadget.
So, and we're talking about probably some students that might not have even had any interaction with the computer system before. So what I think would happen is, if this thing succeeds, it would make UTME easier, because they would have had interaction with WAEC before the UTME CBT. But what we are saying is that in this part of the world, you see, okay, there are some schools where they don't even have anything called computer science. We're talking about schools that are still struggling with chairs to sit on. Now, although WAEC is starting with private candidates who probably are students in schools already, or they're out of secondary schools, they were saying that now using it fully for some of these subjects to write English, now you write. Although WAEC has come out to say that for the essay part, they are not starting with full CBT yet. That the mode of it would be that for the objective, yes, you'll click. So that's not a problem. But for the essay, you would see your question on the computer system and you still write with paper. So at least the question paper is out of it. So you are. So you can see now that cost-cutting measure is a major reason for it. So, but at the same time, at least we just have to shift. We have to get used to the computer system. That is the way the world is going, and we cannot afford to be left behind.
So, with all of this, what challenges do you foresee for this proposal?
First is the fear of the unknown for candidates. For parents who might feel, hey, another challenge that is there. Beyond that, the issue of electricity, the issue of ICT connection, computer, network connection, internet connectivity. Also, is the infrastructure itself. I have been thinking probably why I could also now have to relate with JAM to be able to learn from that experience. That okay, what kinds of agreement do you actually have with these CBT centers that offer that have these facilities? So kind of I believe such discussions would have been had before they came out with this policy statement that from 2024 February this is what we're going to use, and we're starting with that February diet of the examination. But then come to think of it, I feel that beyond all that, the issue of this enlightenment and the belief in the student that this is very possible. So someone was like, so you mean I'll write chemistry exam on the computer? Hey, my God, how is that possible? That thing, we really need to work on it, because I think it's more of this fear that people have with computer system. But this world, see, these children of today, a lot of them are already interacting with phones. So if you can just link it up, that it's the same way you find it easy to operate the phone, it's the same way you also find it easy to operate with the computer system. The only thing is start the assessment. And I love the fact that WAEC is also trying to start with this mock thing so that they get to have a feeling. And that's why every year you see that even JAM every year organizes mock for the UTME, so that they know that many people are coming from backgrounds where they've never had the opportunity of interacting with the computer system. So we're talking about Nigeria, that's capital of out of school children in the world. So imagine those people that are not even in school. You are encouraging them to come to school. The schools don't have the facilities. These are the people now that will now write exam on the computer system. God.
Considering examination malpractice, what is the prevalent, that is so common around Nigeria here? So will this innovation curb it or, increase the whole thing?
Well, I think the issue of examination malpractice would only get sophisticated. It's something, and yes, and that is why for those in authority, it's something they really need to prepare for. Before now, we've been battling with examination malpractice for all kinds of exams. So if you now want to move SSAA fully to be CBT based, then it's something we should also prepare for. That the examination, the malpractice could also become sophisticated. You would now start thinking of, can people hack the WAEC database, the portal where the examination would be facilitated? Will ICT centers used for these CBT exams, will they compromise? Would we have the results? And so many things would come up. So I am saying that the adoption of CBT does not necessarily stop malpractice. No. In fact, we should prepare for wars, because this time around, it now becomes easier for it to be done. You see, it's ready-made answers. Students will just sit somewhere, and the exam, they would also connect with them via the internet, and they can also, gain access to it. So, because I've been involved in proctoring, online proctoring for examinations, so I know quite well students. I see why they are probably, they might have someone that would also be doing the exam with them in the same hall. And at the end of the day, imagine that, okay, you are sitting on a system, and that person is also sitting on a system, the same subject. And at the end of the day, just, okay, you are doing your own, okay, you clicked A here, I'll just also click A now. If the one that we are still trying to write, that one is not working again. And again, we also have some just along that particular point, you just see that, oh, the system will just go down, or the camera will just not show again, and something like, what is happening there? Before you know it, they have quickly swapped, and so many things, could happen, because I have experienced it before. And you need a very, very strong internet network to be able to checkmate examination malpractices, with CBT systems.
Okay, so we'll go on a short break now. When we return, the discussion continues. Please stay with us.
Ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe. Tí wọ́n bá jalè, wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa. Lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe. Tí wọ́n bá jalè, wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa. Lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa. Lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ.
You are still listening to Education Today on Light Radio, and we are discussing WAEC CBT proposal for SSCE, the pros and cons. And we have Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, a lecturer in the Department of Educational Management, University of Lagos, as our guest discussant. Don't forget, you can be part of this discussion by sending your comments, questions, and contributions. You can reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/Light Radio, Twitter at Light Radio, Instagram light_radio, YouTube Light Radio. You can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on 08097384000. A reminder of our short quiz: what do the acronym CBT and PPT stand for? Send your answers to the WhatsApp number 08097384000 or our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answers win the prize. Considering the possible challenges you highlighted, do we really need this kind of policy at this time, or should there be other priorities that should be pursued by WAEC?
Well, see, change. The only thing that is constant in life itself is change. And I think every now and then, some examination bodies, educational institutions must also be thinking of how can we improve our operations, our ways of doing things. And if WAEC considers that this is the next thing to be considered as far as our educational, our examination system is concerned, so be it. I don't think it's actually a wrong thing. But then, it's something that probably would actually force the government to also do the needful. Because I'm trying to imagine that for this to happen, so many things would have to change in terms of the way we teach our students, the curriculum, so that we would actually have to infuse and be serious about ICT in our school system. We have many schools that have computer systems, and they have ICT rooms, and they just locked up those rooms without really using them. You just see out of bounds to students. See, it's a special thing. Nobody dares go there. They did launching for this, so it was commissioned, and at the end of the day, students don't have access. So that mentality would have to change, and so many other things. So I feel like it's probably the right time. See, there is no wrong time to do the right thing. So for me, I think it's very good. We should be bold to face it. It's challenging. I'm saying that it will be Herculean, and WAEC would have to do a lot to convince people that this is possible, and there are so many things that would have to be put on ground for this to become a reality. But then, it is not out of place if it is coming now.
Okay.
It is not out of place.
So what advice do you have for different stakeholders concerning this policy?
First is that, there are different stakeholders in this. The government, WAEC itself, the schools, students, teachers, parents, everybody. First is that, probably let me pick it one by one. Let me start from the government, because government has a lot of work to do. First is that we really need to provide the necessary infrastructure for the school system. In terms of ICT, in terms of electricity. See, for these things to work, we must have stable electricity across the country. We must also improve our, internet infrastructure. So beyond just saying that, yes, we have some of these, service providers, we must improve the quality of the network. Beyond that, the schools really need to look at the curriculum. So the administrators really must emphasize, government must provide the necessary ICT facilities for all schools now, especially secondary schools, because for them to be able to do this, they must have been introduced to it during the, in the school. So government really needs to, work on that in providing necessary facilities. Then for teachers, they also need to improve their own skills, because at the end of the day, if you can't teach, I don't say because I'm a biology teacher, you must also learn how do I work with ICT to enhance my delivery of biology in classrooms. So how do I present my notes? How do I present my assignment? How do I give assignment via the the computer system? How do I mark? How do they submit and things like that? Students must also get themselves prepared. You are moving with the world, and you cannot afford to be left behind. So psychologically, we must prepare ourselves. And probably this would also speak to parents, because then you now have to look at schools that you send your children to. It must be schools where they have the ICT facilities. They are using it. They are training the children on how to use it, and they are really using it as expected.
And parents should not cut costs.
Well, you not say they should not cut costs, because economically speaking, it's something they have to face the reality of their income. So at the end of the day, so government must also improve the quality of the standard of living of the citizens, and must also look at how we can really help take away some of this cost from them. We will also need to work on our power infrastructure. So then beyond that is for WAEC itself, a lot of advocacy has to be done. There must be constant meetings, stakeholder engagement, awareness, and adverts and things like that, promos, for people to really get aware that this is coming, and we really need to accept it, and everything that will make it work out well. So probably then the issue of even certifying schools now for WAEC, ICT facilities will now become a requirement. So they accredit schools and they approve them. WAEC, this and that, they can. So now ICT facilities will now be a requirement for schools to get approval to write WAEC. So at the end of it, you can see that a whole lot of things would have to change. School proprietors, if you are the type that you are just collecting money from parents and you are spending, you are the big man, and you are not really putting money down to really improve the infrastructure of your school, the facilities and everything like that, then you have to look at it. Then this idea that public schools should not have facilities, government must also change. Yes, the mentality has to change. Free education by words of mouth without anything on ground to show for it in our public schools would have to be a thing of the past if our students be able to meet up with this standard that WAEC is bringing. So it is important that we really look at some of these things. So pray that our government will listen. We pray that our teachers, school, administration, all the stakeholders will do the needful. It's not just seriously. Why am I even saying prayer? It's not about prayer. It's about work. So we have to work hard to do
Actionable plans.
Yeah. See. We must be intentional, we must be deliberate, and we must be focused about the fact that we really need to put the necessary infrastructure in place for our school system to be the way they ought to be, so that we can have globally competitive citizens, globally competitive students that can stand anywhere in the world.
Thank you. That's all we can take on the discuss segment for today. We would like to appreciate our in-house analyst, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, for the beautiful insight he has provided on today's program. We'll go on another break and we'll be back for the words on Marvel. Please stay with us. You're welcome to the Words on Marble segment of Education Today, where we take a look at memorable quotes that are educational and inspirational to everyone. Today we have a quote from Jim Henson. According to him, kids don't remember what you try to teach them, they remember what you are. That's our Words on Marble for today. It is important for teachers to understand their position in life of their students. Their composure and personality matters a lot in shaping the life of their students. As such, let us be careful of the impact and influence we imbibe in them. Consciously or unconsciously, it is what you do that matters, not necessarily what you say. Kids remember what you try to teach them. Kids don't remember what you try to teach them. They remember what you are. Kids don't remember what you try to teach them. They remember what you are.
All right, so let's take a look at the quiz and see if at all we have a winner. Do we?
No, not yet.
Oh, all right. Well, at the same time, we'll appreciate those who joined us on Facebook and those who sent in the comments. We have Mrs. Barika, Central Branch. Good day to your education crew. Thank you very much for joining us. And to everyone, well, the answer to that question. So what's the full meaning of CBT and PPT? CBT, computer-based test, and PPT, paper and pencil tests. All right, thank you very much. All right, so
This is to inform you, our esteemed listener, that you can advertise your product and service and also showcase your event on our program. This you can by calling the numbers 07039538998 or 07025074268. I take it again, 07039538998, 07025074268. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let us know how you feel about today's program through our various platforms: www.facebook.com.education today, Twitter Education Today, Instagram education_today, YouTube Education Today. You can also send an email to educationmediaservice@gmail.com. Many thanks to the entire crew of Education Today and the management of Light Radio. The supervising producer has always been Said Aremu. Do join us same time next week on this station. I am Aisha Hussein, and with me,
OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. See you next week and goodbye.